But let's talk about the process by which this vaccine mandate can be implemented, right? So Ben Shapiro tweeted, there's no force in this country that's going to be able to implement Biden's vaccine mandate. You know, once your company has 100 people, then you got to test weekly.
Snitches.
There is a force that can do it. For one, yes, if they do bounties, you know, if they're like snitch on your company and we'll give you a reward. But it's really simple. I mean, it's the IRS. The IRS simply says, every year when you file paperwork for each employee, you have to include their proof of vaccination with your tax return. And if they're not vaccinated, your weekly test of theirs, which is 52 per employee times 100, which is just a ridiculous cost for a company.
At a baseline of 100.
And if you miss one or lose one, $14,000 fine, and it's going to be on your
per incident.
That's what I'm saying. If you have 52 per person and you miss one, 14 grand. Imagine you've got an envelope full of with all the papers for the 52 weeks of proof, and then your dog eats it. Well, there's 52 times 14,000. They're going to tax you for your small business or large business. Now, here's the question. Do you think law enforcement will come out to serve property seizures and arrest warrants for tax evasion when the IRS...
They don't have to. They don't have to. You know what? They can just lien your account without doing it, without even police action. They just
I understand
lien your finances.
But I'm asking if tax evasion is you're criminally charged.
Yeah.
Because what happens is you get fined. You know, the IRS fines you 15 grand, right? 14 grand, and you don't pay it, and they say you're in debt. And then you try to get around it, so then they put the pressure on you. I'm not saying they would do this. They can enforce it this way. But I'm just saying, if a warrant was issued due to failure to pay taxes or some criminal liability defined within the tax code, do you think that cop is going to be like, for the vaccine mandate, that's wrong? Or they're going to be like, tax avoider?
Of course, tax avoider.
Yep.
Yeah, they just get their marching orders and they go do it. And they probably won't even get an order to be like, this is for the vaccine. This is just a tax avoider.
They're going to say this is a business who owes us $200,000 in taxes. They've been avoiding. They've been given multiple warnings. We've seized their assets, but now they're trying to obfuscate their debts. How about this? What happens if a company tries arguing that, this is the proof of vaccination, and they say, that's fake?
Right. No,
you're in trouble.
Man, a bunch of points. I remember in the late 90s, my first job was working for a consulting company that was still doing savings and loan bailout work from the 80s. Wow. So an entire industry was built around what happened with the savings and loans in the 80s. An entire industry has just been birthed around the vaccine mandate, around vaccine compliance, around vaccine audits, around testing audits, and like all the and negotiating and litigate. Like that, this is a massive industry that was just created overnight, and there's 1,000 million consultants out there chomping at the bit to start their own business in this field. But the thing that troubles me the most about this is that Biden knows that he has no legal constitutional standing to do what he's doing, and the way that you can tell that is that each part of their plan comes out of one weird, obscure angle. One bit comes out of OSHA, another bit on the housing part comes out of the CDC.
Makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And all of it says is that they pretextually want to accomplish something. And then they go about finding the way to get that done rather than using their constitutionally granted powers to exert the things that they've been elected to do. The whole thing is a freaking joke. The whole thing is tyranny. We are not living in a republic. You do not have the choice. Your representatives did not debate this. There was no debate on the floor. There was no vote. You did not consent to this, and now it is being enforced upon you, and it's not going to be by gun. It's going to be by liens and seizures.
Right.
They're just going to snatch your stuff.
They're going to go in your bank.
You're going to have to hire lawyers and accountants to fight this back. Your Second Amendment rights don't have anything to do here. You're not going to be able to defend yourself with your AR-15 against an oncoming onslaught of police coming to get your stuff. You're going to have to hire AR-15 worth of lawyers and accountants to protect yourself.
You can't defend your bank account with a gun.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You have to. Your Second Amendment here is being able to hire lawyers, being able to hire accountants to defend you from these liens and seizures that are going to come. $14,000 per incident.
And so what I believe would end up happening is, take a look at the eviction moratorium stuff. It's going to be cops enforcing this, and they're going to say, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. This says failure to appear. This, you had a summons. This says tax evasion.
Dude.
You're a criminal.
I have a story just like this. When I got doxxed in 2018, I was in an ongoing online dispute with my former employer, and I tweeted out to them. I said, "You think I'm going to go into the dark quietly? I'm going to burn this whole thing down."
Figuratively.
Of course it was figuratively. It was singing the blues, okay? What happens? At 11 o'clock at night, bang, 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 bang on my door. I'm in bed. My kids are in bed. I go downstairs freaking butt naked, and there are two detectives with the badges hanging around their neck and a bulletproof vest and the windbreakers on. And they had 8.5 by 11 printed out a sheet that just said, "I'm going to burn this whole thing down." I was like, "What are you here for? What are you here for?" "The tweets, dude. We're here for the tweets. We're here for the tweets." They didn't know why they got sent. Yep. They didn't know the context. They didn't know that I was in an ongoing dispute. They didn't know that I was a writer. They didn't know that I was literary in my word usage. They just had a tweet.
And they don't care.
And an 8.5 and 11 blow up of my driver's license. And they were just like this. "Is this you?" "Yes." "Did you say this?" "Yes." "Step outside." That's what's going to happen a million times over and over again. It's scary.
Yep. So they can't enforce it. And I think, people shouldn't get caught up in this one particular thing either. The eviction moratorium was government theft of property. Yes. At a national level. Yes. Government theft of property. And you end up with here's why I'll tell you this. There's a lot of hit pieces that'll come out and be like, "Tim Pool claims to be center left." And it's like, well, yeah, because I can literally talk about my policy positions and what that means for being left libertarian. But is Hassan the son a left libertarian? No. He's in favor of the government seizing your property, of the government, the authority taking property from the working class away from them. He's in favor of executive decree mandating people be medicated. Same thing is true for Vosh. They're not libertarians. They can, respect for Vosh for coming on the show and having these debates, but he says he's a libertarian socialist. No, he isn't. He celebrates the government mandating forced medication on the people. Okay? Now, I get it.
Forced medication.
If it's a legislative decision, there's a democratic process of liberty where it's like, we've come together to have a discussion about what is right for the community. Some people won't like it, but hey, in a republic, you don't always win. And that means some people will still have to abide by an authority, but not authoritarianism, which would mean, my view is, vaccine mandates, if there's a long process, if there's long-term studies, if it's been argued out in the public, and we're not in a state of panic when we do it. Authoritarian position is the executor and sovereign shall decree the plebs do as they're told.
Man, you keep using this word sovereign. The people are the sovereign.
That's the point.
I know. It just when you say it, you're triggering me, dude. You're triggering me each time because the people are the sovereign. Now, I understand that in cases of emergency, the executive needs to act in a way that would solve time problems around the legislature convening to debate and to legislate.
Right.
Okay. And that concept is born of the fact that when John Adams had to go to the Constitutional Convention or whatever, he had to ride a horse. It took him, freaking 4 weeks to get there. But today, okay, Thomas Massey will explain this very well, that the legislatures could be in D.C. in a matter of hours. It's been 18 months.
Or Zoom.
Right? It's been 18 months and they have not convened a session, to my knowledge, on the floor of Congress to be like, "Hey, y'all, what should we do about this corona thing?"
Maybe they should.
What do you mean maybe they should?
They should just do it.
GD, they should do it. GD,
but
they should do it.
Easier?
Wait, guys, I'm sorry. People, the absence of your legislatures legislating and debating on these things that impact your day-to-day life is a sign you're living under tyrannical rule. It's tyranny.
They don't care. They just voted Newsom in. They love it, bro.
They
you
do.
Gotta admit, these
They
people
do.
are sitting there with their hands like this with a boot, and they're going, and just licking it, and then they're smiling while they do it. And they're like, "Why won't you lick it?" You know what? You want to know what it is? You ever see this video where the guy's in a mall, or he's in a supermarket,
me hyped tonight,
and he's got a mask, and there's a woman filming, and he's stalking her around, yelling at her for not wearing a mask, and he goes, "Is anybody else mad that we have to wear masks and she doesn't?"
Oh, right. Let's get her.
And that explains a lot of it.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but a lot of it. There are people who are like, well, if I don't, help the authoritarians, then they'll come after me, so I have to do it. Then when they get mad they have to do it and see someone else who's not doing it, they get angry.
Right.
They're like, well, I have to do what you do too. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.